the Crows, of course, big winners on the weekend. 84 points, if you don't mind, Cage. Power went the other way, lost by 57. But they're both in the same spot on the ladder, only percentage separating. So let's have a look at the Crows at the moment, because their form out of the break's been terrific. Won their first two. West Coast next at Subiaco. Should be a tick. Then the big test, of course, Geelong coming up. Sydney, North Melbourne, Adelaide, Cage. They're probably the three that are bottled up there for that 8th spot at the moment. Which way do you see it going?
Well, probably North Melbourne might sneak in, but look, hey, the form that the Crows are in general. Now, I know, I'm biased, but the form the Crows are in, they are a chance of sneaking into the top 8. With the draw, and it's all hypothetical, you probably have to say North Melbourne or the Crows. Probably North Melbourne would be the favourite to win that 8th spot. Port Adelaide, unfortunately, they've lost 7 in a row, no chance the way they're playing. Like their first half, their first quarter was terrible. Their second quarter was a lot better, got back into the game. Second half, they get 1 goal. Where are they going?
Well, they're where the Crows are at the start of the year, aren't they? They've got reversal after the break. First 7 games or so, the Power looked great and Crows looked horrible. Then injuries, Cage. You said it. Wow. Injuries will kill your season. I think, look at Brisbane right now. They're all in the same boat. The criticism of Mark Williams, fair or unfair, Cage? I mean, Ken Judge, to say what he said, completely out of line. He hasn't won 50% in his career as a coaching record, so he doesn't know what it takes to win. So I reckon he's a little bit out of order in what he's got to say.
Well, but quite frankly, I would have ignored the comments of Ken Judge, the West Coast Hawthorn coach, or former, coming out and saying that Port Adelaide and Chocco should part company. That made our papers. Obviously, it was going to make our papers.
Well, he can judge on losing. He was good at that.
Exactly. Look, I would have completely and utterly ignored those comments. Had I been cruised at the airport like Chocco was, I would have said to the reporters, look, I'm contracted until the end of next year. I'm trying to get as much out of this squad as I possibly can. End of subject. To say that he won't be there at the end of 2 years, or those sort of comments, I don't think that helped Chocco's cause. I'd like to know who's advising him in that area.
That's a fair question. If you're at a club for 10 years, 10 years seems to be about the period where people start to say, been here too long, it's time to get a new coach, start to move on. All those things start to get addressed. What's the difference between Mark Williams right now in the situation he's in and Michael Voss in the situation that he's in now? Brisbane finished higher than Power last year. They recruited some senior players. They were looking good at the start of the year. Sadly, it hasn't worked. Yet Michael Voss is seen as, well, young coach. He's got coach, got some injury problems.
Got credits in the bank, and that's the big difference.
But that's my question. Mark Williams has got premierships in the bank. He's got. He had 4 seasons where they won 16 games or more, which no other AFL club has done. Yet one is under criticism and one isn't. Is it purely based on the amount of time that you've had in one club?
No question. Michael Voss would have credits in the bank because of the fact that he's a new emerging coach, got him into the finals last year. Chocco's been there X amount of years, and people naturally ask the question, is the message getting through? Are they sick of the same sort of voice? Are they sick of the same sort of message? Look, to be brutally honest, it probably is in the best interest of both Chocco and Port if, in fact, they do part company. It's just... So like the club last year, you don't have to be a bloody Rose Scholar to work out that the club wanted Chocco to say you can stick this job. Well, they cut his pay in half, and they can say until they're blue in the face it was unanimous. It wasn't unanimous, and that's where it all started.
Where does Craigie sit then in 3.5 years? Well, that brings 10 years up for him, Coach. Will he be under the same sort of stuff?
Same questions have to be asked. He's under the pump, no question about that. If they miss the finals for the first time under his tenure, questions will be asked, and so they should be.
But nothing wrong with asking the question, but do we lose sight of it sometimes?
I mean, no question.
And I come back to it, I think we've been spoiled, Coach. I think we've been spoiled in South Australia with 3 premierships.
Absolutely.
That we honestly think that they're that simple to get.
No, they're not. And I asked the question, if Chocco and Port part company, who's going to get it? Who will do a better job than Chocco?
No one. So I'll ask you the same question. If Craigie and Adelaide part company, who would do a better job than Craigie?
Who knows? But look...
That's what I'm saying. Neither of them are...
It's always going to be the coach.
Get the coach.
Get a situation like this when you lose 7 on the trot. Hey, alarm bell starts to ring, knocking on the door. Pow!
Sometimes change... I don't argue that sometimes change is good, but normally you can see the direction. If you do enough research, you can see the direction and what's going wrong. So you wouldn't have argued with Terry Wallace getting removed from Richmond?
No. The only thing I'd ask about Port, after the first, and I've raised this before, after the first 7 games they were 5-2.
Yep.
And I for one thought, hey, they're cruising here. They'll slip into the beautifully here, 8th or 7th or thereabouts. But what's happened since round 7? Now, tread rate is a big issue, no question.
Yep.
But I don't think you can say one player makes the difference we've seen from after round 7 until now. Hey, it is a huge miss not having him there, just his presence. He always takes the best defender, leads the way. That goes without saying, but their skill level, gee whiz, you saw
Well, that's what I'm saying, though, Coach. If you look at their list, eight of their 11 players are their top-line players, and they're saying the same for Brisbane. 5 of their 8 injuries are their top-line players. So once you lose the top-line players, that number, if you're not a club like Geelong where you've got multiple players, that's where they're struggling.
They've got the depth.
The Crows have started to get some back, and the young kids have started to step up.
Yeah, that's
so you've got the opposite. They've swap places.
It's going to be an interesting run home to see who sneaks into the 8th spot. But at this stage, you'd probably have to say North Melbourne. Sydney, no, I don't think they're just travelling by my standards. I think it's out of North Melbourne and the Crows who fill 8 spots. So.
Oh, that's a relief. Just before we came out, you had the Crows in the top 4. You're not very biased.
I had them in the top 4 at the start of the year. That went down the gurgler, I can tell you.
Time to go.
Bye.